Well, hello out there. How y'all doing today? We are back again. This is KB and KB. Opening up for week 11, and I think it's going to be a good week because this is like one of my favorite toppings.
Topics. Yo, that's pretty good, man. Yo,
what?
You get a dap. You stepped out of your comfort zone, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Welcome back. This episode 11. Going strong.
Yeah.
You good?
I'm ready to go.
Man, I'm ready to go too. I'm pumped up. So we're going to get right into this. Real quick, y'all know the drill. If you not following us on the platform that you listen on every week, hit the follow-up subscribe button right now. There's no more excuses. It's time to stop playing games. All right. Time to get real with this. Number 2, if you haven't shared with a friend, share this thing right now. Just send the link. It's not hard. I send the link out every week. Your turn. And if you already shared it with some folks, share it again. You know it's not that hard because you did it before. Anything else I'm missing? Oh, yeah. Yo, people hit me up about them shirts, man. They flying off the shelves, you know.
Yeah.
And you got the hoodie on. I got the hat on here. Boy, here. Repping. You know. So, yeah, if y'all want to cop your NoStoppingKev merchandise, hit us up. So slide in the DMs on Instagram at NoStoppingKev Show, or send me that email at NoStoppingKev@gmail.com, or text a brother, or text the other brother, or should I say a dinosaur? I wasn't gonna let you off the hook that easy. But yeah, great topic today. We looking to be in and out with this joint, but we gonna go in. All right, you ready? All right, so yeah, we talking about today, pops.
Parenting. We talking about. I kind of like this topic because look at my son and my daughter. How good y'all turned out.
And you've been a parent for how long?
I've been a parent for 24 years.
24.
Yeah, just 24.
How you figure that out?
Huh?
How you figure that out?
How old are you?
Oh, all right, got you.
Well, you could say that some of my skills might have started a little bit beforehand. We can go with Corey, being around, but like this topic to me is just like I said, because you, Brianna, now we got other in the workings, and it just shows you how much different it is, and I could show you how important parenting is in kids' life.
Did you say Kiki and Kaya?
Did I say Kiki and Kaya?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't say it wrong this time?
Oh, well, I didn't know if I missed it or...
I don't know if I missed it either, because when you said that, yeah.
But yeah, I got 4 sisters. You got 3, though.
Yeah, I got 3 girls.
Yeah. Just couldn't get another boy, but all right. So yeah, today we're going to be diving in a little bit about, just why we think it's important that parents, really focus on instilling good values, principles, and morals into their kids, because especially in today, it's a lot going on, and particularly this year in Philly, it's since we had the episode about the violence, man, it's just, it hasn't, it's still been going on, and it just hurts because I see so many people being impacted. But just in interactions with the youth, I noticed that there's some things that just aren't there, some dots aren't connected.
Yeah.
And you kind of got to think back to what's it like in the household, and then as I got older, more exposed to certain things, I got to see that there's some gaps. Some households have some areas of improvement, right? Nobody's household is perfect. We all have areas of improvement somewhere, but I think a lot of times some people just don't know or don't think about certain things, or they might not know how to overcome a little bit of a hardship or a shortcoming in their abilities. Because I'm sure as a parent, it's probably some areas where you would say, oh man, I gotta get better at that.
I would say I got to get better at a lot of things, and still today, I feel that I still got to get better. What? Just think of one day you could have a good day, and the next day you have a bad day. So it ain't like you just maybe just felt a little bit that day, and you might did it right yesterday, but then the day for some reason you didn't do it the right way when it happened.
And it also takes two to tango, right? So you can be a parent, you can think you're being the best parent, but if the kid not vibing with it, you gotta make some adjustments, right? But one thing in particular, I feel like I use that word a lot. It might be one of my go-to words, but one thing to focus on is exposure, right? And so it's like, what are we exposing our kids to? Because I think back to you see videos on social media of kids doing all types of stuff, like throwing up gang signs and dances and all the things they see because they might be watching a bunch of rap videos at home, and it's like the kid doesn't know any better,
right.
And it's like you would think the parent has some sense to censor certain things the kid is exposed to, but that's not always the case. And I find with a lot of people, they don't realize how much kids actually understand and are able to take in. And I can't say I fully realized it, but Devin in college was taking like neurology classes and stuff, right? Because she's a psych major. So I really got insight to how the brain works, and she was telling me how even at young ages, kids, like, they know what's going on. So you think that sticking your kid in front of a TV when God knows what's on there, like they're not going to remember it, they're too young? Nope. They're taking it in. They're soaking it up.
I think y'all are smarter today than we were. Or y'all pick up things faster today. And, especially even with technology and all like that, I think it helps y'all so much more, and to pick up.
You know why I'm laughing?
Why?
Because Kaya know how to work a phone better than you.
Yeah.
Give me daddy, I'll do it.
Yeah. Kiara was working the phone, back then before me really knowing. I used to say, you want to give her my phone because I think she's going to break it or something and mess it up.
No, she teach you something all
day. She know what she's doing.
So why do you think it's important, and we kind of already answered this, but why do you think it's important that, parents kind of focus on what they expose their kids to?
Because, like a lot of times our actions talk more to our kids. We can say, don't do this and don't do that. But if they see us do it, and and they think that, like, and we showing all, like, this is cute, or, or we bragging about something around somebody else, but we telling our kids not to do it. So what make our kids think that, oh, my dad, cool, man, he smokes cigarettes and he gonna tell me not to smoke cigarettes? Look at him. So I may do that.
Like, it's like if, you tell me not to do something, but I see you doing it and you don't seem to be, like, it's not killing you from at least what I can see.
Right.
With cigarettes is a little bit different story, but just with anything in general, it's like, it's actually not that bad, so why can't I do it?
Right.
And, kids often, I saw, it's like this meme I saw before with like a little boy, and it was a group of guys, and they were all, like, had one fist in the air, and the kid was doing it too in the photo. Yeah. And it was like, kids follow what they see more than what you tell them.
Right.
Which is true, because, that's why it's important to lead by example.
Right.
And, you said actions speak louder than words. Going along with that, you got to practice what you preach.
That's right.
And I think that's a big thing, and especially when, kids are younger, right? So if you start just showing them the way early, it's more likely that that's what they're going to follow. So, like, with you, there was a lot of things I didn't know about. And, you told me the right path, but from what I could see, you were, in my eyes growing up, you was on straight and narrow. Like, I had no idea about drugs or anything like that.
Right, because that was a thing. Like, see, you know what? For real, like, when you was born, it took me away from that life. It took me away from that, because, like, it's funny. Like, I always laugh at that too. I smile at it and laugh a little bit, because I didn't want you to come back to see me in jail. And that's what made me get away from that. But like, one thing I can say. Y'all helped me become a better person, because like before y'all, like you said, I gotta practice what I preach. So I couldn't be telling y'all that to do this and then I'm doing something wrong. But you know what? I just tried to show y'all that I did. Now, I'm not saying that I didn't do anything, because we all know that I did do stuff, but I didn't expose y'all to it.
And I think it makes me think back to So I knew you would have a little beer occasionally when I was growing up, right? I see you a little Heineken bottle every now and then, you know. I mean, nothing wrong with it.
That was later. Yeah, that was later. You can remember at one time I used to drink O'Doul's.
Yeah.
Remember, I used to drink O'Doul's. Yeah.
But like, I knew my mom never really drank when I was a kid, and even if we was at like a family function and I would see her like grab a beer or something, I would freak out because like, what are you doing? Like, that's bad, because that's kind of what I was taught, right? And I think that, you know, with that being my upbringing, just kind of, I guess you can call it sheltering a little bit. I think that really helped attribute to me being one of the rare, you know, kids that kind of wait till they're 21 to drink, right? Because in my mind, I didn't like it. I had a little sip when I was a young buck, you know, had the little honorary son sip, and I was like, oh no, that's nasty. I don't want that, so I can do without it. But I think that just leading by example, not exposing me, not having me in environments where I was around a lot of adults drinking, right? You know, I think that helps a lot, because as a kid, we see a lot of adults drinking.
They do.
Unless you're pitting to the mindset that, like, hey, you don't need to do this, or, you know, unless you get the kids in that mindset, which is hard to do at a young age, they're going to want to do that because they're going to want to be, like, kids look up to adults. They look up to their parents, older relatives, and so whatever you're showing them, they're more likely to follow.
Well, you know, sometimes, too, I just think, you know what? You got a tendency of gravitate to something. Mm-hmm. Either it's going to be good or it's going to be bad. Or, you know, it some way we got to, because if you know, you might have an uncle that you think is cool or and all like that, and you might like the things that he do. Mm-hmm. You know, so you know what, you might follow that. That's why I think it's important. It's really important for, like, and I think you touched on it earlier, to what you start off in your home with. Mm-hmm. and what you have in your home. I think that's like real important, because like I said, I didn't do them things, and your mother didn't do them things. And even though, like I said, I didn't show some things, and we was together, we do that, but that it's important. It's important. Like I realize now in life that parenting is a big thing. Like, and it starts in the home, because, like, you know what they used to say? They used to say, like, when it started happening, babies was having babies. So now you got people that is babies that's young and having kids and ain't really, you know, teaching. Yeah. Now you got grandmothers, and this what was said. Then you got grandmothers that 25 years old. You know, they still want to be out in the clubs. So, you know, what are you teaching our kids? So now when we start really looking at things, look what the kids got. You know, it sometimes, and it cracked me up with who we choose and what choices we make.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think, you know, when you have the situation where you have babies having babies, you know, the parents are younger, right? So it's less time that they've had to kind of develop in any type of professional or career path, right? So your options become very limited. There are some people that are able to, you know, push through. You know, if it was their goal to finish college, you're still able to do it, but it becomes very difficult to do, right? So now if you're working minimum wage, or, you know, jobs with lower wages, you might have to work more hours now, right? So less energy you got when you get home. You might have to work multiple jobs, so it's just this constant stress. And so it's like, when do you have time to kind of invest in the development of your kids? So that's a challenge that I see a lot, particularly in our community.
You know, one thing I have to say too, you know what, like, and I go back to something about choices. Like, you know, I knew your mother was a good woman. You know, I knew that. I knew Brianna, mom. I knew that. So, you know, like, I knew that your mom wasn't hanging out in no clubs, wasn't doing no stuff like that. She was living right. And see, that was the choice. So now, if I chose a woman and had a child by a woman that was hanging out in clubs and doing all this. So if I want to be running the streets, and, you know, I want to be doing what I'm doing, so when do I have time for the kid? You know, I used to love taking you to your doctor's appointments and stuff like that. I felt good about doing that. I felt good about taking you to the playground, or just hang out even with Bree, or riding bikes, or whatever we did. I just enjoyed spending time.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because we're gonna circle up on that later. But kind of continuing with that exposure piece, you mentioned the other day about how you saw kind of like people, maybe on the block, people you hung up with, kind of follow after their, let's say, sons following after their dads. Yeah. Doing the things that they saw their dads do. And I mean, we share this, almost, it feels like every other week. But when you were in jail, you saw, fathers there with their sons, grandfathers.
I seen 3 generations, man.
Mm-hmm. And then you saw, what else?
3 generations and a family. Mm-hmm. I mean, and brothers, like,
so dad and brothers there.
Yeah, dad and his kids. Like I was locked up on the block with one dad, with the dad. His one son was on this block. His other son was on that block over there, right next to it, and the other son was down there.
Case in point.
And they all was in jail for the same thing.
So it's like, why do these cycles continue? Like we gotta start breaking these cycles. And if it's just a situation where there's a lack of guidance, or let's say good sound guidance, let this podcast be the guiding light of what not to do in certain situations, because you got some people here that made mistakes and then learned some things through experience. Yeah. So share this with some people. Shout out to all the adults out there that be like, let me send this to my grandbaby because I know he be out there at that playground playing around with them knuckleheads. Send it out. But yeah, so it's real, and it's something that we see. So you don't even got to get all statistical with it. We see it. You got people there, like generations, all in the same jail. So clearly, people are following what they're exposed to. So we got to start changing what they're exposed to, which is why, like with my nephew, right? I knew sometimes I didn't agree with certain things he was exposed to at certain times. So I always tried to, I knew if I was meeting him to work on his summer work or meeting him after school, I would make sure, sometimes when I was leaving work, instead of, leaving work so I can go change and then maybe go pick him up, I get off the sub, meet him near his block just so he can see me in a suit and tie. So now he's like, I'm giving him exposure to something he's not seeing, because I knew growing up in our neighborhood, you ain't see a lot of people wearing suits. Now you do with gentrification, but they're not black people wearing it, right? So it's trying to giving them something to look, because how can you be something if you don't see it? Unless your imagination that great, but I know mine wasn't fantastic.
I have a friend, right? I have a friend who has a son, and the son is young, and the son talks back to the mom, say things, and just that, and the mom gives the son, takes care of him. Mm-hmm. Do the, but what she don't give him, she give him all the wrong things. And sometimes I try to say, what, you need to be home. You need to do this and do, be around and spend some time with him. Not just, want him to do things, and this is a thing, you want him to do this, but you're not leading by example. Mm-hmm. So therefore, he following you. Right. You ain't telling him. You showing him what to do by the way that you living. Mm-hmm. And then you get mad at him for being like he is.
Right. It's like it's like if you got your basketball coach and he telling you something, or he's telling you you got to be passionate and invested in this team, right? But coach kind of going through the motions at practice, you don't feel his fire, right? If he don't show you that fire, but he's telling you something, you're not gonna get there. Yeah. But my players know, when they see me losing it, they it's because he care, right? So if I get on them because I'm saying it seems like you don't care, I'm more likely to get buy-in. And you talk about spending time, right? Being present. I was in Disney last week with my nephew. It was our first time having, kind of being together for that amount of time consecutively. And it was good because, I got the good bonding again, right? Because it's been a while. I kind of feel bad it was that long. But I still got to see my nephew. He helps take care of his siblings a lot. He has 3 younger siblings. So, he kind of has been put in this position where he had to kind of grow up a little faster, right? So sometimes you forget that he's 14, but he's still a kid. So I was really happy because I got to see that kid side of him,
Right.
and we had fun. Usually, teenagers, they're always on their phone, barely talking. There was certain parts of the trip where I couldn't get him to shut up, but I just liked him talking. That I was like, yo, go ahead, say all you want to say. And before I know it, he was telling me about stuff that, he goes through on his day-to-day. And I'm like, all right, so y'all, let me make you aware of X, Y, and Z. All right, I wouldn't do that, but I just want to make you aware. So now, because, I'm present, I try to check on him during the week, even before this, you're more likely to get better responses from your children, especially if you're, I can always hit them up about school, like how you doing in school. If it's a slip up, if I'm only ever hitting him up when he's messing up, I'm like I'm the type of authority figure that's only coming in when he does something wrong, which is probably not the best because he's going to associate me with something negative. Whereas if I just say, check and see how you're doing, right? If I'm just being present, wanting to know, more likely that now he's going to associate me with something positive. And so now I can he's more likely to follow in the way that I'm steering him versus rebelling. But yeah, so do you think, another question for you, do you think there's a difference in like the quality of parenting today?
I don't think there's a difference in the quality of parents. I think there's still a lot of good parents out there.
I agree.
And I think that, it is. It's just that, we still run into that philosophy of babies having babies. Mm-hmm. And people having kids at an early age. And it's what, like I said, it's the choices we make. Like when I was if you choose to have a girl that's hanging out in the streets and doing some things and doing all that, how much do you think that she gonna take time and spend with that kid?
Or you have a guy that does the same thing.
Like you think a guy that's right hanging out all the time like that? Because see, the thing is, like I say, father's important too. Mm-hmm. But you know what? When we acting a fool and doing a fool, you got to have that foundation. Even that mother, like that's why I had to take my hats off to some mothers. You got to, because like, you know what? And I mean, we got like I could say that being there, but men still, but that the mother always gonna be there. Mm-hmm. So you got to make sure when you got a person, like I'm saying, that's what I was saying. I knew if I wasn't doing right, I knew your mom had you. Mm-hmm. So I knew that. Like I knew, like Brianna mom, when they the one that held me down for real. Like when I was messing up or stuff like that, and like we said, we'll probably talk about that like later on down the line or something like that. But yeah, but that's the thing. So that's what I'm saying. It's important, and that's why like I first said about moms, because like I really do. It's important for us men to be there and teach. But like your mom's always there.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to all the moms that hold it down, and I'm right with you. I think there's still great parents out there. I don't think there's necessarily a decline. I just think that with kind of shifting away from traditional families in the past, right, we kind of had the 2-parent married couple that would kind of have kids, settle down, both kind of work out the responsibilities. When you have kind of people that aren't necessarily ready to have kids, and then the family's broken, then you got mom finessing dad, sometimes single dads finessing to provide. It gets very hard, because you have limited time, limited resources. So it's like, how much can you invest? I think that one thing that I kind of watched my mom do, she worked standard 9 to 5. She had 2 children, but she got help from places, right? So she would find free programs in the community. So whether it was the police athletic league, YMCA summer camp, which she had to pay for, but she found things that would fit into the budget, right? And so she couldn't give me exposure to certain things on her own. Like we couldn't just up and take a trip to, I don't know, shoot, it can be the Hirsch chip factory, right? So I can see how chips was made. She couldn't up and do that, but she got me in programs that did. She couldn't always put me in like a chess league, right? But the Powell Center could, and that was free. So I think that, sometimes as a parent, self-assess. We always talk about that, right? Being self-aware. Definitely, be real and highlight your shortcomings to yourself. I'm not saying you got to publicize it, beat yourself up. It's like, no, I don't have capacity or the ability to do this. How do I still get this done? Because I got to do it, right? I got to, most of the time a parent's goal is how can I give my kid the best shot at life? And there's going to be hurdles in the way from time to time. Figure out how to go over them. Go through them, go around them, do what you got to do. And so one thing is try to explore some other avenues. It doesn't all have to be on you. I'm a firm believer in it takes a village, which is why I was on my graduation cap, because it wasn't just one person that got me there. And I know I didn't get me there alone. What?
No, I just was, and like when you were saying that, like another thing I think is, back, I guess I'll say it in my time coming up, like sometimes, families ate dinner together, talked about things, like when you were saying like your nephew and you got to talk, sometimes like having dinner like this, like today, and then it was funny because you said, he put the cell phones down. Yeah. Everybody play with cell phones. I don't care what you're doing. If you eating, you playing with a cell phone.
Yeah, he tried that at first, and then I was like, yo, I don't do these phones at the table. Yeah. Right, and at first I was nice about it, and then Devin gave me a little nudge. She was like, no, you gotta be firm like you always do. And I was like, all right, yo, did a phone away. But before I know it, he didn't really care about it. Because I think he got to see like, oh, hey, yeah, I can talk to you and enjoy the conversation, and be open. But it's just being present, building that relationship, making yourself available, and being present in the moment.
Yeah, just like I said, and communicating. Communicating,
communication is key in a lot of things. Yeah. Something else I wanted to say, kind of going back to seeking resources. If you look hard enough, you're going to find something out there, right? So you might not have the energy to, I don't know, let's say you got a parent that works 2 jobs, right? 16 hours a day, factor in commuting, making dinner, and all that. You might not have the energy to go through some extra ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, colors and all that with your kids, but there's a lot of programs out there that are free that will do it for you. So exert your energy finding resources that will exponentially grow your energy by helping you out.
Yeah, like you said, like something like that sometimes. You might have a cousin that can help you with ABCs. Or I think, didn't Bree had to call you sometime for something or some kind of work that she was doing one time? I asked you some questions?
Probably.
I can't remember what it was.
Pretty independent.
Yeah,
I be telling her hit me up.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'll hit me up from time to time, ask me a couple questions.
Yeah. But like I was telling you, Bree picked a lot of that up from you. When we would all be together, and she was always when we would go away, or when you would come to Harrisburg, you would have your bag and you have your computer and all like that. Like Bree is similar the same way. Like she'll come to the house now. Brianna have and she takes care of business, man. I'm proud of y'all, man. I wish I had that in me, man.
Man, well, we got it in us. Apart from you.
Well, yeah, something, but y'all had taken care of business. The way y'all supposed to take care of business. You graduated from college. Bree doing a good thing in college, and I know that she's gonna graduate.
Yeah, I'm confident in that too.
Yeah.
So Dad, before we get ready to bounce, top 5 principles that you think everyone should, teach their kids. Feel free. I know you got your notes over there. Go ahead. You don't have your glasses though, so we gonna bear with you, brother.
Well, really, I would just honesty is one thing. Open-mindedness, willing. Honesty, open-minded, willing. I call that HOW. HOW. Honest, open-minded, and willingness. That's 3. Then I believe that we got to be respectful too. We have to be respectful. What else? Be responsible. To go 5 right there.
Yeah, you be killing me, man.
What, with my squint?
Huh?
What, squinting?
No, you just be funny. So your how? So honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness.
Yeah.
So I feel like honesty pretty straightforward. You talking about being honest with other people?
You got to be honest with yourself first before you can truly be honest with somebody else. You know, because if you deceive yourself, you know, what are you going to do? You're going to start deceiving other people too.
Yeah, or no, you might just be tricking yourself.
Oh no, you're definitely tricking yourself.
And everybody else see right through it.
Yeah.
What about open-mindedness?
Just being able to receive what somebody's giving you, somebody else's point of view, and not thinking that you always right about anything. You know,
opening up and seeing,
yeah.
And then willingness,
willing to do the right thing, willing to make the next best choice. You know.
Got you. So about them choices, and then respectfulness.
You know, you got to give some respect to get some respect. You know. So be respectful, and then like some people will be plagued back to you.
What about responsibility?
You know, just taking care of your responsibilities. You know, like just handling like your business, what you truly have to do.
I think you mentioned something else before too, in regards to like, you know, parents, you know, just kind of teaching their kids, you know, holding them accountable.
Oh yeah,
you know, making them be responsible that way by holding them accountable,
right? Yeah.
And just holding them accountable for their actions, and teaching them kind of what's the right thing to do and what's the wrong thing to do. And then I think you had something for parents to keep in mind too.
Being understandable, you know.
Being understanding.
You got to be understanding, because you know what? Sometimes, like, we once was kids too. So you got to realize and sometimes understand and how to deal with certain situations. You know, like I had a situation, for example, with Kiara and Kai, who broke something. So then they didn't want to say who did it.
They broke my stuff?
Not your stuff.
You sure?
Yeah.
You sure? I'm gonna find out about this off air.
Huh?
They broke something of mine?
I'm just telling a story.
All right, go ahead.
I'm just telling a story. Did you ever break anything in mine?
Yes.
Okay then. Did you tell me?
Yeah.
Okay. But you know, like I had to, and this was a part, like I had to tell them, and then like they was taking up for one another. Nobody did it. Nobody did it. So I was at work. I was at work. And then our regional manager was there, so I couldn't call back home, right? So then I when I got a chance to call back home, I called home and said, I ain't mad at you for breaking it. I'm mad at you for not telling me. And then I had to tell Kiara, I'm more mad at you because if you know, and you know that you teaching your sister a wrong way to be. So like, and that's when I had to like really just tell her, and I'm holding you. I hold her more responsible. And you wound up telling. They wound up telling who it was.
Yeah. So I'm right with you on a lot of those things. So for me, one thing that I want to definitely, I think people should instill in their kids is the value of, a strong work ethic, kind of setting goals and going out and achieving them. Because if you're working towards something you're passionate and care about, or something that matters that can take you farther, then I think you're going to more often than not, fall in line with a good path to be on, right? Versus just kind of wandering aimlessly, right? That's usually how you end up in some spots that you don't necessarily want to be in. And, I look at it like, so I kind of push the bar a little bit for the next generation in our family, right? So my kids will be set up to be more successful than I was, right? Because I achieved some things. I know how to get to certain levels, and so I can kind of steer them in a way. I can send them to better schools, potentially, do a lot of different things from the time they're born, right? So it's like, how do I make them stay motivated and hungry and have the same amount of grit, if not more, right? So that's something that's important to me that I think a lot of people should teach their kids too. Just because, it's something I see in coaching too. Kids not really wanting to work sometimes. So I got to try to teach them the importance of that. Show them, like, hey, if you put this work in, you're going to be rewarded later, right? So you got kids that go super hard in practice, right? That might not do it off the bat. But when they start getting in the game, start winning games, having impact, leaving their mark, that's when they start to understand it. So definitely teaching them at a young age so they can leave their mark all throughout their life, right? Better late than never, but sooner the better. Right in line with your respectfulness. So being respectful of all things in life. People, ideas, because we all don't have the same ideas or opinions or beliefs. But, you look at this country, and just because, people disagree on some things, they think they got to hate each other. Like, no, respect the ideas. Maybe pitch yourself, see it from that perspective. And sometimes it's okay to agree to disagree, right? We're different. We don't all have to conform to the same mindset, but that's going to bring me into my next thing. And also, I said being respectful of activities, right? You said, like, remember we used to talk about motorcycles?
Yeah.
You say respect the bike.
Yeah, gotta respect.
Just like in basketball, respect the game. You avoid a lot of trouble with other people when you respect the game. Avoid injury, things like that. So that goes along with respectfulness. But going back to respecting people and ideas, I think it's important to teach your kids to come with a loving and caring spirit, especially today we see so much hatred and violence. Like, it's okay to be that person that wants to show someone else you care about them, some of the most special people in this world are people who, when they see someone getting bullied, they go comfort the bully, right? Let that person know they're not alone and that there are people out here that are going to respect you. It's unfortunate that happens, but it's a real thing out here, and I've experienced both sides of that. Both sides being the one that got bullied and someone came over and had your back, and I've been the one to go and comfort. And I mean, we need more people like that in this world. My number 4 was faith. So, whether you find it through religion or some other way, mine came through religion. But, just having faith that, things are going to be all right. Definitely stay strong, especially in those tough times. But, I believe I got up to a lot of places I've managed to get to through my faith. And, especially when I thought it was about to be the end of the road or I was going to fail, just kind of falling back on that, I think really helped me through a lot of tough situations. And then going back to something we said early in the episode, valuing quality time with the ones you love. Time is probably one of the few things in life that we can never get back or make up. It just keeps moving. So definitely value the time, and sometimes you got to sacrifice it to do so. Like, I remember like I wanted my nephew to go hang out with his cousins, and he really didn't want to go. And I mean, as a kid, you don't always understand it, but I tried to teach him, tell him, like, Tahir, there were times I wish I, had just gone to Harrisburg with my dad, right? Not knowing that it was going to be a point in my life where I couldn't just go see my dad, right? Locked up for 3 years, I couldn't just go see you at any time, right? So that really, I would go through feelings at times because I'm like, damn, there's probably times where I could have said, forget that basketball game that I had. I should have just went up there for that weekend and not have missed that trip. But I know you understood me playing ball too at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it's just something people don't think about. You kind of take what you have in the moment for granted. So definitely value the quality time with the people you love. Last but not least, that parents got to work together. I think especially today you see divided houses, right? You see young people that are just in completely different worlds, or even I see it with adults where it's like parents that separate, they start battling each other and they lose focus of what they have in common, which is their child, and what their focus was. They're trying to help that kid have the best life possible. So case in point, I appreciate, I know you appreciate this, and my mom this is something she preaches, but she never shuts you out because she believes children need their fathers. Especially me being a young man, she knew I needed you. So parents definitely got to work together.
That's like when you say that. I've been blessed in that sense because I had no wars with none of your mom or Brianna mom or like I said, like I was the one messing up. And they never, like you said, never shut me away. I remember when you went to meet the mayor, and it was funny because
I got an award.
Yeah, you got an award from the mayor, and like you only had one pass, one you could bring one guest, and your mother gave that to me, and told me that I need to take you. So I mean, she always did things to keep us together, always, So that's one thing that like I just said, and like even in my incarceration, she still pushed. She still was there. She's still helpful. Support. Her and her husband. Like and I had to say that, man, because that makes me feel good, man, to know, because like to have that support like that. Mm-hmm. I remember Brianna mom was telling me, I ain't gonna mess you up. You gonna mess your own self up. I ain't gonna have to tell her nothing. So that was good, and it's good. And like I'm the one that had to get myself together. And thanks to y'all, it helped me get myself together. It kept me together.
Facts. You want to know something I remember about the day I got the award from the mayor?
What?
Do you remember a funny moment?
What was the funny moment?
You was taking my picture with holding the certificate.
And what I do?
No, it was me. I had the certificate upside down.
Oh, okay.
And you caught it and had to tell me, like, flip that. Looking, I was slipping for a minute, But yeah, we gotta get ready to get up out of here. Episode 11 coming to an end, but that just means 12 coming before you know it. Yeah, closer to 12.
And I think it's getting better and better.
Yeah, me too. And remember, cop your NoStoppingKev swag, man. And like, I just want y'all to know, when y'all wearing this, like, it's to, start a conversation with some other people, create more awareness around the podcast. Got nothing to do with me or my ego or his ego. It's just more about spreading the word. So just something out there that people can see. I'm going to say, oh, what's that? So you can tell them, like, yo, check out this podcast. But yeah, and I appreciate everybody out there that's been hitting me up like, yo, I need a shirt. Like that love and support has really been phenomenal. It means a lot to me. So shout out to everybody that hit me up, within this first week of putting this stuff out there. Gonna have to make another order soon. So if you don't want to have to wait for your stuff on back order, you better snatch up these last couple items because they're going fast. Last but not least, you know what I'm about to say?
What's that?
Hey, make sure y'all sharing the show, man. Make sure y'all hit that little share button on your phone. And also, if you're watching on YouTube, you don't have to wait until you got time to just look at the screen, sit down with a screen in front of you and watch on YouTube. If you got an iPhone, swipe down, just go to your home screen, swipe down and type in podcast. A little purple icon is going to pop up. It's a free podcast app. Type in the NoStoppingKev Show and you're going to find us. We're also on Spotify. So if you don't have an iPhone, got an Android, get that Spotify app. We on there too. And we on Google Play. And we on Stitcher. Do I need to get us on some more stuff? Let me know now, because I do it. All right. But yeah, we got to get ready to get up out of here. You want to hit your pat and sign off?
Peace. And I'll see you next week.
We going to see y'all again.
And be blessed.
And have a blessed week. We out.
We're out.